Good evening and welcome to Conversations with Taz. Let's see who else is here with me. You want to introduce yourself to the people tonight? Can't hear you.
I know, because I just put on my headphones.
No, not you. Talking about Monty.
Oh, my bad. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Verizon, we can hear you now.
You know he actually switched to Sprint now.
I know.
I had to get rid of Sprint. It's trash.
It's not trash. It's the best service ever.
Somebody,
Okay.
I couldn't even say that with a straight face.
somebody said, "How did T-Mobile and Sprint come together and make the worst service ever?"
See, this is what I see. Here's my thing. I see they cock blocked AT&T from buying T-Mobile, which would have made that service phenomenal. And then you
Right.
could have called anywhere in the world for like cents on the dollar. Because I had T-Mobile, and their international plan is amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
Because like I think I had T-Mobile one time when we went. I think we were in the Bahamas. Still made phone calls. Still made phone calls.
Yeah. I had Sprint for a solid 8 years.
8 years,
They
man.
got
How did you make it?
they got. I
How
couldn't go
did you?
nowhere.
How
I
did you
wouldn't
make
even.
that?
I had to make phone calls. I had to leave my house, like for real. Like I was sitting there. I was like,
I
"What
don't
can
know
I
how
do?"
you survived, because that 8 years, man, that's like a prison sentence.
Right. I went
Yeah.
to they teamed up with T-Mobile, and I was like, I'm going back to AT&T. Can't do it.
Yeah, I'm chilling with AT&T.
See, what happened is they said, oh, they're gonna be a conglomerate if they get T-Mobile, but I'm like, you doing the same thing. Only thing you made it worse.
Right.
Did they forget about MCI back in the
No,
day?
I
That was a
remember that.
conglomerate.
Or Singular Wireless when
I
AT&T
remember
ate that.
Singular. Yeah.
When AT&T ate that, made it a good service. I mean, they got
Right.
them because they were just sitting there just doing nothing and barely surviving.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Well, let's jump into the first topic. Here's the clip.
No.
I'm here today because I believe Facebook's products harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy.
Blunt talk from Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen, testifying before a Senate subcommittee. She sounded the alarm about the damage Facebook and its platforms are causing, especially to the mental health of teenagers, pointing to internal research that she recently leaked. One particular concern, she said, data showing Instagram use contributed to girls having body image issues.
The Instagram is about bodies and about comparing lifestyles.
She criticized Facebook as putting profits before people, pushing posts with more likes and comments to the top of users' news feeds, because its research showed that essentially creates a giant popularity contest. That's a contest many teens feel they are losing, and yet they cannot bring themselves to delete their accounts.
They want the next click, they want the next like, the dopamine, the little hits all the time. And I feel a lot of pain for those kids.
The outrage has brought a rare moment of bipartisanship to Congress, with senators from both parties vowing to take action.
Consensus on protecting kids is low-hanging fruit, but if you address the root cause of that problem, you'll also address the root causes of so many of these other issues we're seeing stem from Facebook's platform.
Rishi Barwani works for the organization Accountable Tech and is a former advisor to Democratic Senator Cory Booker. He echoed Haugen's warning that Facebook focuses on revenue, even if the content contains harmful or misleading information. He urged senators to subpoena Facebook for a better look at their inner workings.
We can no longer rely on Facebook to be forthcoming with the information that they have. We need to demand it.
A Facebook spokesperson responded to the hearing by pointing out that Haugen did not work on child safety issues during her time there. In Washington, Kevin Fry, Spectrum News.
Thoughts?
It's about time.
Really is. I read something the other day though, like, hold on. I feel like echoing a lot here.
You have just a little bit of an echo.
All right. So basically, it said that she said Facebook is dangerous because it doesn't monitor, spy, censor, limit, enforce, and ban enough. So that's literally the definition of a non-whistleblower, right? This is what I'm getting from that.
It can be. For those watching, my full thoughts are on tonight's podcast, Tastastic Tuesdays. That link is in the bio, so I'm just going to keep it brief so that my co-host can really give their thoughts on it. But I just took that snippet because they also talked about the disinformation that goes on Facebook. The parameters that they had originally during the last election cycle, and then they lifted them until after the insurrection, because the insurrection was, let's call a spade a spade. It was planned on Facebook. My major issue, and this is one thing I did not say in the podcast, so I will share it here. I have a problem with people who were like, I see a problem and I'm not going to speak out about the problem while it's going on, while I can fix it and while I can get people to come in and fix it. I'm going to wait and play I Spy and wait till I'm a safe distance away, and then I'm going to tell. Because quite honestly, she could have done more good and more harm while still working at Facebook. And if you're going to be a true whistleblower, she should have been leaking that while she was there. Right. Because right now they could be covering up anything and skewing anything.
They already do.
So it's like, we no longer have an inside man. Why wait? It's no different than in activism. If you're going to say that you're going to stand up for marginalized communities, you don't get to sit in a restaurant and watch somebody get assaulted and then go home and make a video about it. If you're not willing to step up and get in the middle of the mix right then and there, what are you really doing for me?
Right. Like, it's good that she put that information out there, but like you said, she could have did a lot more in there.
Because we've had other whistleblowers throughout the decades who stayed in their positions, got with the right people at the Justice Department, and continue to leak information to keep them up to date on the latest stuff, and to be able to tell them, okay, look, we just got a memo saying they shredding everything tomorrow. If y'all gonna move in, move in. If somebody does, this is a tech company. If they decide to do a data dump, what you gonna do?
Not a blame thing.
Because this isn't like the regular average individual doing a data dump. Because I equate a tech company, as an IT professional, a tech company doing a data dump is like a coroner committing murder. What you gonna find?
Or covering up a murder.
Right. What you gonna find? They have all of the tools to make sure you never know the truth.
Right. Coroners do that all the time too. So.
Oh, and side note, did y'all hear about the coroner that they did not give the gender? I don't know if they were male, female, or non-binary, so don't ask me. I did not want to go down that rabbit hole, but I had a little bit of time, and y'all know that's always dangerous. But this former employee of a coroner's office collected 1,000 male members and was keeping them at their house. And my thing is, I'm like, how did it take them getting into the thousands before the funeral homes realized that the bodies weren't intact? Because the funeral homes dress the bodies after cleaning them again. So you gonna tell me that everybody was coming in as a eunuch? And I'm like, but I'm also curious, like, what
was she doing?
But we don't even know if it was a woman. That's the thing. They don't specify in any of the articles if this person was male, female, or non-binary. But I'm like, what was she doing? Who were you? giving me
Lorena.
very Norman Bates.
She was Lorena Bobbitt. They was Lorena Bobbitt. Sorry, I keep
It's
saying
giving me
she because
very Norman Bates. But
right.
see, here's the thing. I originally thought woman, but then I was like, nah, because there's some really creepy, sadistic men out there. And then I had to think about Jeffrey Dahmer. And then recently, um, I don't want to call it a murder club because that's really not what it is. But there's a show with like Selena Gomez on Hulu, and there's a collection of us that get together. Um, and there are some similarities with this show and real life serial killers and murders. So we've been kind of researching that. And we did find someone while they were committing their murders did not identify as non-binary, but they currently do. They're still alive. They're rotting away in prison in another country. And I was like, looking at their crime, yeah, I could see them doing that too. So I stopped leaning so much by the woman. And then I'm like, they didn't say that these things were taxidermied or plastered. So I'm like, they're in the specimen jars. So what are you doing with them in the specimen jars?
Can we not? Yeah, I'm not going to even dig into that. I'm just not. Mm-mm.
But it is a
Nope.
good segue into our next topic.
I
Wait,
got.
before you even
They might have.
before you even segue into this, if you guys are not following her on Instagram,
Hold on, which one? Who's that? I think I'm already following her. I can't tell. Oh, the big weird mom. Oh, she's awesome. Yes, y'all definitely got to go.
follow her. She has been digging into the insurrection on a nonstop basis. She's been subscribed to Parler and all the rest of them to follow all these shenanigans and what's going on. So if you're not following her on Instagram, go follow her because she is hilarious.
You know what? We need to work on getting her on. I think she would fit in and we can finally have that conversation because I am doing my best to try not to go down that rabbit hole personally because you all know me very well. And if I go down that rabbit hole, it might be a couple months before I come out of it. And we don't need me flying over the cuckoo's nest and then wanting a copy of Catcher in the Rye. And if you are not old enough to understand why I'm saying I would want a copy of Catcher in the Rye, this might not be the channel for you. Just saying.
But yeah, no, she's I think she was like one of the ones who started that whole thread of this. Literally broke down on Facebook. She got the pictures, she got captions.
Yeah.
She did like a whole deep dive into it. I was just like, girl, it's like you got kids. How much time do you have? Because I know them kids be manifesting your time. So
yeah, because that's where I first saw her on Facebook. Somebody had shared one of her posts, and that's what got me. I was like, this is very detailed. I didn't know she had children at first. I honestly thought she worked for a news outlet. And then
no,
I finally...
those are kids' noises.
I mean, she can still have kids and work for a news outlet. I just thought that's
Because,
what she did.
girl, she was just like, just 1 second. So yeah, I was just like, oh, she's got her kids. She's trying to do this news segment and watch them. I was like, girl, multitask. You got this. You got this. Because she was like the first one who broke down about the whole meeting on the 5th between certain people, you know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she named names too. I was like, you can't be naming names. They might come take you out. What you doing?
And everybody she named is now currently being subpoenaed. Oh yes, and Geeky Gamer, we got to get you on here too.
But tell them to come on now.
Our next one is one from a publication that is in my neck of the woods. We're going to get through this, and we're going to get through this really quickly. It's just, I always talk about paying it forward to keep each other safe, and that's what we're going to do, because there seems to be a disturbing trend, because this is like the third time I've heard about, or it's been made known to me, situations like this. And this incident that I'm going to tell you about, according to the article, took place September 11th to September 12th. It was in the wee hours of the night. So it's one of those, once it's after midnight, they consider it the next, well, it is the next day. Headline is Latonia man charged with rape in Boone County. A Latonia man has been charged in Boone County with rape. Jonathan A. Davis, 20, was taken into custody today morning, and charged with one count of rape first degree, incapable of consent, physically helpless, Class B felony. I'm going to skip through some of these details because I'm not going to put that out there. And no, the victim's name is not mentioned anywhere in here. Before somebody asks, nope, no, I didn't do any digging. I'm not trying to find out who this woman is. Leave her alone. Investigators say Davis had accepted an invitation from the victim to play cards with her and several friends at a home in Burlington the night of the incident. He also admitted to knowing the victim was asleep when he began sexual intercourse with her. Thankfully, he is currently in the Boone County Detention Center on a $250,000 cash bond. Sucks for him to be in Boone County. Monty, you already know what I mean. He's not going to have a good time there. But I'm saying this because, like I said, I've heard this a few times where either people have been friends with someone, asked to stop by for something, been invited to a gathering, and I don't know, you all are grown men. I'm just going to speak from being a woman. Are there certain places that I am very close with someone, or I may be related to them, where I can get comfy and fall asleep at their house? Yes. Am I trusting in that moment that because we're all that good? To a certain extent. But I have learned that even folks that I've known virtually my whole life can not be trustworthy at times. I don't know how you all feel about being at someone's house. I mean, I know how Monty feels about coming to my house because everybody falls asleep at my house. I don't care. I just throw a blanket over you, and I usually just go upstairs and tell you to just let me know so I can come down and lock the door. Ain't nobody gonna bother you here. Plus, let's be real, the only people who visit me are my siblings and my children, and daddy when I'm in trouble.
Now, before we continue, like, it's sad that we can't mention the victim's name. Like, not saying that we need to, but a lot of people like the victim shame. Like, why'd she invite him if she didn't really know him that well? Like, it's sad. Like, I know it sucks to be a woman in this world and have to deal with that issue. That sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. And it's like it's time to stop the, well, what did she have on? Well, what time was she out? What time, like, and I hate the, well, why was she out at this hour? Like, y'all do realize women work second shift and third shift also. You do realize that sometimes, there are same-sex households, and if you have a sick child or a sick spouse, sometimes you got to run out to get that prescription or run out to go get whatever in the middle of the night. Stop that. What does she have on?
Right.
So, in order for us to get clarity on this, and I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of Christians will be mad, but I blame Adam.
Oh, that is actually a very good point.
I blame Adam.
Well, yeah, because here's the thing: a lot of people get
wait, hold on,
go ahead.
Let me finish.
I'm sorry.
Don't cut me off. I'm on a roll, honey.
I'm sorry.
Because first of all, sir, you had all opportunities to ask where this fruit came from. You had all opportunity. Nobody was stuffing this fruit down your throat because what does it say? She gave it to you and you ate it. You didn't ask her, well, wait, where did this come from? And she would have definitely told you, because at this particular time, as we all remember, nothing had changed. Why? Because the commandment was not given to her, it was given to him. So he had all opportunities.
He read it to her. She knew not to touch that tree.
No, she didn't. That's where people get it wrong. He never told her.
Here's the problem. Because it says she did take and she did eat, right? Right? Everybody all in agreement. She ate from it. But did she know that she was naked after that time? It doesn't mention that she remembered, that she knew she was naked, that she didn't know that what was going on. Not the covering had not left. The covering was still there. So when she went to Adam to give him whatever fruit it was, because some say it was apple, some say it was pomegranate, some say it was something. It was a piece of fruit. We don't know what it was. When she handed it to him, he had all opportunity to say, "Where did you get this?" And he did not. He literally just said, "Okay, here you go. I'll eat it. No problem. You gave it to me. You're my wife. I love you. You wouldn't do anything to harm me."
See, that's
You
where he
didn't
screwed
ask a
up.
question.
That's where he screwed up. He
And
trusts
again,
her. You can't trust some women.
Hold on. First of all, let's back this story up because I'm so tired of people getting this story wrong. First of all, God came to Adam. God told Adam what the rules were. Adam chose not to properly communicate with his wife and tell her what she could and could not touch. So she's walking around willy-nilly thinking that, oh, this is nice. This is not, this all ours? This hour? And he like, yeah, baby, this hour. She's like, oh, let's redecorate. Let me get dinner together. Let me put this together. And then he's so lackluster and so full of shit and bitch ass that when God came to him and asked what happened, he immediately pushed her out front and blamed her, knowing she knew not better. They lost the covering because of Adam, not because of Eve. So can you all stop blaming those of us with the uterus and start blaming those of y'all with the prostate?
I'm just saying because, okay, Monty, let me put it to you this way. Had the covering not been lost, had he just simply asked her what had happened, trust and believe God would have been like, okay, cool.
Right.
Just make sure she does not go over there again. Because again, the covering had not been lost. The covering was still there. So any scales or things that they had on their eyes at this point to know exactly what was going on around them.
Right.
The fear that animals had of them, which they didn't have at the time, which they got now. Because you could sit down, you could lay down, the lion be right there and be like, yeah, I'm just going to take a nap. I'm just going to take a nap. We just going to sleep right here. Okay? We good? Okay, we good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, no woman on the face of any earth, any parallel universe, would have been like, yeah, I'm going to eat this fruit so that I can have horrendous period cramps, bloating, mood swings, and horrific labor pains, and go through pregnancy that pulls all the calcium out of your body, makes your body brittle, and basically changes your DNA each time you get pregnant. None of us would have signed up for that. Not one. No one. Do you think we like to bleed like a murder scene and have to ball up and pray for death once a month? And for some of us, twice a month. Yeah, a lot of y'all didn't know about that.
Have you ever stubbed your toe? Same pain.
No,
Ronnie,
it's really not.
I'm just joking.
Ronnie, I'm gonna
It's really not. According to my sister, it is not that same pain.
No, and they just recently released a study. And I have been saying this since giving birth for the first time with my oldest son, Monty's homeboy. Because I'm like, because when I first started having, they don't tell you what to expect with contractions. They just expect you as a woman to instinctively know. Like, make that make sense. Contractions feel like period cramps. And for centuries, they kept trying to tell us women that the pain was different. No, it's not. The uterus is contracting, whether it's contracting to push out a baby or push out the babies we didn't create, extra eggs. And Governor Abbott, I know eventually you will understand that cycles push out eggs that you would think is a baby. So if you decide to outlaw and lock us up for having periods, you're going to have to build a whole lot of prisons. And you got to realize I am more Harriet than I am Rosa Parks. But anywho, next topic, next clip.
That is the goofiest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, how can you tell a woman what to do?
Not to have a period.
Right.
First of all,
that's impossible.
It amazes me that there are men that don't even understand.
You better get pregnant or you're going to jail.
Or the difference between a labia and a clitoris, but want to tell me about my reproductive rights.
I'm just saying this before you go on to that next clip. And I'm just like, I am really sick and tired. And I stress the word sick and tired of white women coming in black women's comment sections telling them that they need to be standing with them. I was like, first of all, ma'am, they are not after black women or any other women's of color uterus. You, a black woman or any other POC woman, go into that doctor's office. Sure, what time would you like to have this done?
Right. Exactly.
A white woman, on the other hand, no tea, no shade. You are not having this abortion. Absolutely not.
Well, not
That
only that, they
2020,
want
that
us.
2020
they've been trying to.
census, that 2020 census, when they found out that they was losing the majority by a lot, they was like, "Oh my God! In 10 years, what are we gonna do? What are we
Here's
gonna
the thing.
do?"
They
They've been
created
trying
the
to
rule.
depopulate us for
But see, they created
centuries.
this rule. They created the rule that is now killing them because they said that you can detract from blackness. You can detract from being Asian. You can detract from being indigenous, but you can never detract from being white. You mix white with anything else and you are no longer white. Those are their rules, their words, not mine. So don't come for me for just telling you like a TI is historically.
Just watch.
Because y'all know how I am. I'm going to bring the historical context when it needs to. But also, white women, stop having all of the Anglo audacity to keep wanting to use our black faces, our black bodies to fight for your causes. But when we were marching for Sandra, where were you? When we were out here screaming for justice for Brianna, where were you? When Atatiana got gunned down in her own home, where were you?
Thugs.
Because the last time you even wanted to stand next to us was during the suffragette movement, and it's only because you wanted to use our faces and the faces of our brothers, fathers, and sons to get voters' rights for yourself. And when black men got voters' rights before any woman, you got mad. That's why Frederick Douglass had to quit fucking with your asses. So don't come to me as a melanated, majestically wonderful woman and think that I am going to stand up for you. Because as long as we still have black women and black girls going missing and you don't give a damn, as long as MMIW is a thing and you don't give a damn, don't expect me to give a damn about you, because I am taking all of my lunch breaks, all of my PTO, all of my vacation on this. And I'm going to take a page out of the book y'all wrote. I'll show up at the end and get my participation trophy. Until then, fuck you. And your mama shouldn't have went on that date full. She should have been hungry and she could have swallowed you and you could have saved the rest of us a damn headache.
I knew that was coming. Preach.
I'm just saying, because I'm just like, every time I see a black woman talk about this thing, the comment section is littered with white women coming in there and saying, well, I was just like, where?
They got a couple of black women.
I need the date.
Now.
I need the dates. I need the timestamps. I need the transactions of you driving a bus or train or plane to the said walking site. Where were you? I need pictures. Where are the receipts that you showed up to any of those marches, darling? Where?
And I'm not talking about driving past, because we saw this a lot regarding trying to get justice for George Floyd. And I'm glad people were getting busted in 4K, pulling up the day after, taking photo shoots and literally posing, or showing up to the beginning of the protest, taking a couple pictures and going home. Nah, white lady, nah, This is not the soccer mom lane. I've been a PTO president. You do not get to show up to 2 meetings and then come back at the grand finale and act like you've been in it to win it. Because I am that motherfucker that'll be like, Becky, I ain't seen you in 6 months. It's amazing how the rest of us are calloused, but you're perfectly manicured. How's Sway? Oh, and how's Dave? Oh, I know you're married to Richard. I'm talking about Dave, the one I saw you with down at the Waffle House. Tell me, what about those family values again? You're anti-abortion, but didn't you have to have 3 last year because of Dave? Oh, yeah.
Oh, he was giving it to you that good?
You couldn't afford it. You couldn't afford a lift, so you called me and thought that I was going to put you into the carpool for after school pickup. But I didn't know how much was
Oh, he
coming
was
out
hitting it after
undercarriage.
school too? All right. Go ahead, Dave. Yeah.
Oh, and you cool with Principal Sanders too, huh? Y'all have a lot of late night conferences about Judy, your daughter,
What?
huh? Don't play with me. I don't gossip about folks. I don't gossip about folks, but I will tell the truth in a heartbeat. And if you want me to put my body on the line for you, but you don't want to do it for me, baby, I'm gonna spill all the tea. Okay, I'm gonna brew it all up. I'm gonna put some good agave in it, and I'm gonna pour it out for everybody at the party. Okay. You want it to go cup too? But here's our next clip.
Familiar chants for what some see as a familiar story, this time playing out in Bend, Oregon. A black man, Barry Washington Jr., was shot and killed allegedly after complimenting a white woman. No evidence of the compliments being inappropriate, according to the local district attorney, who also says Washington was then confronted by the woman's boyfriend, Ian Cranston.
He said some words to Mr. Washington. Mr. Washington said words back. There was some pushing, some jostling, some punches thrown, but then it calmed down. It was not going to get out of hand. Then Mr. Cranston pulled a gun out of his waistband and killed Mr. Washington.
Cranston's attorney disputed that account and wrote to CNN in part, before Ian Cranston ever drew his weapon, Barry Washington had assaulted him without provocation, resulting in head injuries that required the police to take Mr. Cranston to the hospital where a brain scan and other procedures had to be performed. Cranston was initially arrested on a single charge of second-degree manslaughter and had been released on bail before a grand jury returned an indictment Thursday that added second-degree murder, first-degree manslaughter, first-degree assault, and unlawful use of a weapon.
The Honorable Beth M. Bagley presiding.
Friday, a judge ordered him held without bail. District Attorney Hummel has said this was a homicide with no justification. Meanwhile, a community and family is left looking for answers, as race is hard to ignore.
We just want justice the right way, like the rest of the world would if their loved one was killed in cold blood just like this.
It's a dynamic not lost on the district attorney.
There's a reckoning with race that needs to happen in Central Oregon, and it needs to happen now. Justice will be done in this case.
And after the initial charge against Cranston was filed, he even wrote in part, it's important his family feels our community saw Barry, that we see them, and that we believe Barry's life, their lives, and the lives of all black people matter. He is not, however, seeking a hate crime charge as of now, citing there isn't enough evidence. Cranston has a plea hearing set for early December. Omar Jimenez, CNN.
Oh, hold the heck
I'm going
up.
to reserve my comments for the end.
Oh, hold the heck up. Jesus, hold on. I'm about to preach a sermon. Get your teacups ready. Get your teacups ready.
Hold on.
Because I'm about to preach a sermon today. First of all, sir. The only injury I see on that man is a black eye. That was the only punch that seems to have been landed. That's the first thing. So if you got a hand injury after getting a black eye, your head is way too soft. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But you don't see, or there's not enough evidence for a hate crime. There's a video of them laughing at him dying on the floor. I mean, please explain to me how them sitting there literally laughing on the floor while this man is bleeding out, and there's no evidence, sir? Are you sure? Because I would see that as hard, concrete evidence of this video. I mean, y'all tell me, you sitting there bleeding out, and you got these mofos sitting over your dying body, laughing that you're dying.
Like I said, Monty, I'm going to reserve mine for the end. So,
I mean, honestly, it's the same thing the police did with George Floyd. They stood there, they watched, they laughed, they made jokes. They don't care. They don't care about us. Like, As much as we want them to care about our lives, they're never going to care about us.
They still operating in that slave catcher mode.
Yes, absolutely. And it just goes back to what we was just talking about. The depopulation.
And I'm just like,
the more of us that they can kill, the
better
their numbers raise up. They're happier. They don't want us to become the majority. They don't want us to still be. They want us to leave. They keep telling us all the time, go back to Africa. I've never been to Africa, but I would love to go.
Here's the thing. But here's the thing. To renounce your citizenship, it's $125. You gotta pay.
You gotta pay to leave.
That's after a certain amount of years that you can live in the other country and still pay taxes to the United States. It's not an automatic thing.
You gotta pay to leave. What sense does that make?
But let's not forget.
Telling me to go. You keep telling me to go, but I gotta pay you to leave this country.
And
explain
Liberia
to me that magic.
Was their first attempt at recolonizing us back on the continent of Africa, and most Black people didn't want to leave, which I can understand. You're not going to use my blood, sweat, and tears and rip apart my families to build this country and then tell me I cannot benefit from the work I actually did.
We still don't benefit from it, though.
I know that. I'm saying at that time that our ancestors couldn't.
I get that.
But. So the few that did leave, it became tyrannical because at that point in time, just like in some instances to this day, Black people never had any power. So for generations, all we did was mimic what we thought white people were doing. That's why there was so much tyrannical reign for so many generations in Liberia, because that's what we experienced from white people.
Like I said, and I'm gonna say this, and me and you have talked about it, Taz. If I had the opportunity and the power to go back into time before colonization, and I got to speak to the heads and they would understand what I'm saying to them, I would say, if you see a boat, burn it. Burn it. Burn it. Burn. Burn. Don't even bother talking to them. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your effort. Trust me and believe me when I say they are only out to steal what they can get from you. And if you give it to them with your hands open, they will take everything and leave you with nothing. Burn it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but like that's why they chose Africa.
Well, hold on. Let's take that. We're going to come back. We're going to come back to that. But it's just like I'm so horrible with remembering creators' names. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna start making a list and I'm gonna get better at it. But D-Mac, I do know that I shared it with you. It is a gentleman of Asian descent. And
I know who you're talking about now.
He's being funny, but he's extremely historically correct. And he said, because it was a Black guy going, I'm going out on this boat. And he's like, don't get on white people boats. White people boats haven't even worked out for white people. And he goes through history saying how white people boats didn't work out for anyone. And it's the truth. But let's take the pin out of that. The reason why they chose the continent of Africa, your first travel books came out of the continent of Africa. The Church of Ethiopia, the longest standing Christian church that is the only one not under the Vatican, but is Catholicism. And it's unbastardized Catholicism, because people don't realize that U.S. religion is not universal global religion at all. And that's why colonizers flipped the map upside down to make it appear as if Europe is above Africa, and it is not. This is why Europeans always want to separate Egypt from Africa. This is why they always want to say that we were in huts when they went through and grave robbed us. Think about it. This is what they took from graves. This isn't even what they took from the living. The amount of wealth they took from graves. And we as Black people know we do not bury our ancestors, our dearly departed, our recently transitioned with the best of the best, no matter what they think we've told them. Because even to this day, our elders still want us taken care of. So they may have their favorite diamond ring in that casket with them, but all the rest of them diamonds are getting dispersed amongst the family. They didn't have wealth. They didn't have culture. They didn't have hygiene. They didn't have literacy. They went to the continent of Africa to take that. Just as when they were hiring Portuguese mercenaries, because we're going to get all the way into it. Because if one more of y'all motherfuckers try to say that black people were selling black people, I'm going to come and I'm going to throat punch you. I'm dead serious. Portuguese mercenaries were going in and abducting people to the point where you had princes and kings writing letters to the Portuguese saying, please stop. My people are dwindling. My land is suffering. But even the colonizers couldn't learn the languages of Africa. So you know what they did? They taught us English so we could translate. And then they couldn't understand how we were getting so slickety slick and getting away and being able to pirate the ships. And when white people truly got into the slave trade, they were pirating Portuguese ships in order to steal us off of the ships in order to get us to the United States. Because when the first slave ship landed here in 1619, the Treasurer, that was a pirated ship. White people stole from the Portuguese, and what they stole was us. So can y'all stop saying, well, what about the black tribe leaders that sold black people? Bitch, we didn't sell them. And you motherfuckers started off by trying to sell your own, because the word slave comes from the original slaves, which were the Slavs, which were a slightly olive-toned people, but they were still white. They just learned that because they were basically island or coastal folks, they learned how to block themselves in so that they could stop being stolen. And then after that, white people tried to use the indigenous people of the United States to be slaves for them, but they could not, because indigenous people don't work like that. And they were killing them off. And then they decided, oh, here's a strong society that already has inoculations, already has paper, already has writing, already has education and universities. Let's go get them. Because the last time we were great, we were Romans, and we've sucked ever since then. And even then, we didn't have the riches and the depth of knowledge that the African people had. Because all they could do was fuck each other in bathhouses.
Calm down. Okay, go back to your corner. Drink your wine. Let me and Monty have a conversation.
Right.
You know how I get when it comes to history. My bad.
Shush. Shush. You are on pause. Mute yourself. You're on pause.
I'll be back.
Mute yourself. Sheesh. Good Lord. I mean, we couldn't even get a word in edgewise, but anyway.
It's so good.
But she's right. She's right.
Absolutely.
You know, at the end of the day, here's the thing. Like I said, and see, here's the thing. I would have did 2 trips. Just two.
Right.
Just 2 trips. I would have did one to Africa, and I would have went all around. I'm like, look, you see a boat? Burn it.
Burn it.
Don't even bother. Don't even bother. Welcome them on your shirt. Just burn it. Just burn it right now. Catapult it. Do whatever you got to do. Shoot the arrow, whatever. Because it was all wood at that time, so it was easy to catch fire.
But all of the best tools, like Africa had so much, was developed.
Still does
so much. Still, like still does. They think Wakanda is a joke, but there's probably a Wakanda in Africa. We didn't.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt
it at all, because they're so far ahead. And in America, all they do is tell us how, oh, if you go to Africa, you're going to be living in a hut, and you'll have to chase down your food. And I'm sitting there.
I would eat better and be in shape still.
Right. Same here.
Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. I would eat better and still be in shape.
But that's
you see them over there.
You know, American education. That's how they teach us. They want us to think like, yes, it's hot, but they want you to be like, oh, you got to sleep on the ground. You got to do this. You got to do that. like
Now,
Africa is hell, and I'm sitting there, I'm like,
now, I'm not saying that there aren't some places where
there
there
is
are
some
poor
shit-
people
yeah.
and suffering. That's not what I'm saying. But
Right.
the reason why is just the same reason that Haiti is going through what it's going through, because of the colonization and the shenanigans that happened there.
Yep.
And I'm just like, here's my thing. Now, don't get me wrong, and please, anybody, if you love this movie, I love it too. I still do. To the end of this day, I still love this movie. I still love the Ten Commandments. Don't get me wrong. I still love it. It's still one of my favorite movies. But I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing white folks playing Egyptians when they were not white.
Brad Pitt.
No.
I don't
Absolutely
think
not.
Brad Pitt was in everything. Brad Pitt's everything. The Last Egyptian, The Last Samurai. Like I'm sitting
No,
there,
that was
like,
Tom
come-
Cruise.
That's Tom Cruise.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
And you're talking about Charles
Hey,
Heston. That's
they all
Charles
look like
Heston's
it.
era.
They all look like
He said they all look alike.
But I'm glad
They do
you
the
all
same
did
to us
bring
too.
up.
Right?
I'm glad you
Be
all
like,
did
hey
bring
Jamal.
up.
No, my name is not Jamal.
But I'm
Right.
glad you all did bring
I'm
up
not even
the
on the
American
team.
Education system. I'm gonna remove myself from this live, and those in the comment section. I want you to, if you're on TikTok, you know what a blind react is. If you do not, nobody's seen this video but me. But I'm gonna remove myself, and it's a put a finger down challenge. You'll understand why I'm wanting you all to participate in this. So let me remove myself, and then I'll play.
Blind
This is
React.
for U.S. citizens. Put a finger down for each one of these if you learned them in school. Put a finger down if you learned that Native children were stolen, beaten, and murdered when taken to residential boarding schools until 1973. Put a finger down if you learned about the forced sterilization of Native women in the 1960s and 70s. The creation of blood quantum, that is initially a system that the federal government placed onto tribes in an effort to limit their citizenship. That 58 out of 1,000 natives do not have indoor plumbing, and that's over 52,000 homes. That it wasn't until 1924 that Congress granted citizenship to all natives. That the native people didn't receive freedom of religion until 1978. That more than 370 treaties were signed and all of them have been broken, which continues today. If you learned that natives had systems of trade and government, that you live in a country that is for genocide today. And put a finger down if you were taught that Thanksgiving was celebrated at every slaughter and raid, and then one day was designated for this celebration.
Blind.
Wow, I didn't learn any of those.
So
Not
how
in-
many,
not in
did
school.
anybody? Did anybody? Yeah, it was specifically in school. Was anybody able to put a finger down?
No, I still had all 5 fingers up.
not even.
And for those of you all that are wondering, I just told the fellas that we would be going over pop culture stuff if it came up, headlines and things like this. I put together all of these clips on my own, and how they segued into each other is just a testament of how all of our brains work collectively together, because this was so seamless. You would have thought that we planned this, but we did not. They had no idea what I was going to be showing them tonight whatsoever.
So here's the deal. So like I said, I had 2 time travel trips in mind, just two. So the first one, like I said, I would go around to every African nation, every last one of them, and be like, just burn the boats. If you see a boat and you didn't make it, burn it. Catapult it, shoot an arrow at it. It's all wood anyway, so it don't really matter. Wood catches fire. Fire beats wood every time. Just burn it. Just burn it. And I'll be like, see, that's where the understanding every language will come in handy as a power. Just saying. I'm just like, here, just burn the boat. Just burn it. Just burn the boat. Just trust me. Just burn the boats. So then when they couldn't take Africa and they go over to when what's his face tries to go over to America, I'm like, look, if you see a boat, just burn it. Don't even bother sitting there letting them catch us. Just burn it.
Yeah, because
Just
my
burn
thing
it.
is, Portuguese people, I love most of y'all now. Some of y'all still a little questionable. But I'm sorry. If I could go back in time, because we wouldn't have had the problem of Christopher Columbus if he wouldn't have been able to marry the daughter of a member of Portuguese royalty, because nobody else is going to give him a boat to come over here. Let's be real. I'm sorry. I'd have set y'all whole country on fire. Because y'all started this shit. And knowing what I know now, sorry, not sorry.
Well,
I'll
it's
they
set
not.
shit on
they
fire.
love to say black people started slavery though. They
But wait,
love
here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. Because see, even after the Portugal, then Spain joins in the fun and goes over and annihilates the Aztecs. Then we have England be like, well, you know what? We got to keep up. We got to still be in the up and up. I'm tired of these Spanish and these Portuguese people showing us up at
And
the
then the
dinner
French
party.
was like, hon, hon, hon. Pass me my croissant. We cannot let the uncouth English come through and do better than us. And then they got their ass kicked quick, fast, in a hurry by the Haitians. And they was like, fuck this shit. We're not going to do this anymore. We're going to be more sophisticated. We'll just be a racist here in our country. And then the Russians were like, y'all go, you, me comrade, you do the dirty work. We'll just come in later and steal all the nuclear bombs and all of the, bio warfare, chemical warfare. But you do the dirty work.
They said if you're black, if you go to Paris, France, stay in Paris. Don't go outside of it.
Do not go to Nice. Definitely do not go to Champagne. And if you don't know what I mean, even though, I hate
I love that name though. I want to name my daughter
that. I hate mispronunciations. But within the United States, we can say champagne because you can only call it champagne if it comes from Champagne. Just like you can only call something bourbon if it comes out of Kentucky. But bourbon and whiskey are the same goddamn thing.
No, it's two different things.
No, it's the same thing. It's just called bourbon because it comes out of Kentucky.
Ding, back to your corner. Back to your corner.
I had to.
And
I had
you
to.
Don't make me call. Don't make me call. You got
round 3?
No, 3:00 on Sunday.
Oh, you ain't gonna see me.
Oh, so you want me to call?
I'll run.
So you want me to call it?
Oh, look at my new phone case, y'all. Ain't she pretty?
So okay, so I need to make a call.
Who is that, Selena?
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
All right.
No, you don't.
Okay, don't do it. Don't do it.
But no,
don't start no more. Be nothing.
Real quick.
Would you like a pie? You need a hug? You hungry? Here you go. You hungry?
Hey, real quick though, can we talk about how I don't want to say white people because I feel like I'm demeaning them, and I don't want to.
I call them alabaster animaniacs. So say what you
Caucasians, Caucasian people.
They're Anglo-Saxon.
And
Caucasoids had melanin. They're Anglo.
How they make all these photos in black and white to make sure we think it's like 400 years ago pictures, but in all reality, it was 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Right?
And we still look good, just saying.
Yeah, because every time they go, oh, that was so... Okay.
That was Emmett Till.
There
was like, oh, that's so... He's as old as my grandfather. Like, he would have been the same age as my grandfather.
But there was a gentleman I saw.
But they act like that was 500 years ago.
On Instagram Reels, right before we got backstage before the show. And it wasn't this creator's Instagram page. I know that for a fact. But this creator, I do know from TikTok, when I was on TikTok before they decided to kick me the fuck off. But I digress. He's like me, big into history. And somebody literally left him a comment that he was responding to, going, well, nobody alive present day owned slaves or participated in segregating people. There is a 96-year-old secretary and court reporter for the Nazis that is currently on trial right now in Germany, and she tried to flee. 96. I'm like, y'all act like every freed slave was an adult. You do realize there were children, and a lot of them are still alive because we don't just die that easy. If we did, you wouldn't have been able to have slavery here in this country for hundreds of years. Number one. Number two, using to talk about nobody participated in segregation. That's your Mima and Papa, because my daddy is older than desegregated schools in this country. My daddy We don't even have to go to my grandparents' generation. My daddy is older than Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka. My daddy is barely older than Queen Ruby, who's still alive. There are healthcare professionals who are losing their ever-loving shit on the internet. And I'm so glad that they're sharing these stories. And from now on, every time I come across them, I'm going to try to get a screen grab, where they're talking about the confessions of these old white folks that y'all call the softer generation, talking about how they lied on black men and black women to get them murdered and get their houses burned down and get their families run out of town because they were jealous because somebody's sister had a prettier dress, because, oh, he really didn't whistle at me, but I secretly wanted him to because I thought he was cute. Or somebody was like, I couldn't believe that she was married to a doctor, so I had to do X, Y, and Z.
Or we'll do you one better. The beach resort that was stolen in California, which Governor Newsom just gave back to back to the family's descendants, finally, after all these years. Because they literally did exactly what they keep telling us to do. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you can have the American dream too. Well, okay.
Didn't we do that with Tulsa? Didn't we do that with Rosewood? Didn't we attempt to do that with Selma? Didn't we do that with the MOVE movement? But and the MOVE movement was in the 1980s, and they bombed our shit. And then the last children, their remains, they never to this day gave those remains back to the surviving parents and have them currently on tour for 2 different universities to teach classes in anthropology. Why is it okay for them to use our bodies and desecrate? Because that's necrophilia. That's grave desecration and grave robbing. If I do that, I'm going up underneath the jail, right? We see stories about this on the news several times a year, right?
Can I make a point of order there? And I'm noticing this, and I'm noticing this a lot more now than I'll say at least about 10 years ago. Like, I'm seeing a lot more movies, more video games, a lot more even mobile games for your cell phone, for this whole zombie apocalypse shenanigans. And I'm just like, what is going on here? What is it that you're trying to say?
They're addicted to afterlife.
Well, you have to
realize they want to see what those dead bodies. There was in my hometown, I know of at least 3 people digging up graves. 3.
Well, yeah, but you have to realize they went from saying that our original religion,
check the comment
specifically
section.
Cometicism, and a lot of Native American religions. I am not going to try to list them right now because pronunciation, there are a lot, but also my pronunciation is not there. I am working with a friend to get better at it, and I don't want to mispronounce it and come off any type of way. So I'm not going to do that. They called them savage religions, but these are the same people who use their bastardized version of Christianity to grind up the bones of our ancestors, snort them, eat them, put them and make tea out of them, because they felt that they would gain power. Now, if Black people are inferior to you, why are you trying to gain power from the remains of our ancestors? And just to add further insult to injury, because this is a nasty part of history that people need to face. You felt like royalty in your home if you had furniture made out of black skin, literally, and the cushions were black hair. If you had dentures made from the teeth of Black people, you were considered the top 1% and wealthy. If you had a cookbook in your home teaching you how to cook Black people, no, I'm not joking. Google is free. Libraries are still open. Microfiche and microfilm still exist. go ahead and get into it, because I have looked up this stuff and gotten actual copies of it. And if you got, I know I no longer do my individual classes, but starting next week, there will be pre-recorded segments on YouTube for you all to get the history on this. That's what they were doing. Everything that makes a white person feel like they've made it has to do with the consumption of something black. And if you think I'm joking, let's real quick, let me say this and then I'll be done. If you ever go to what they call colonial restaurants or colonial kitchens, and I went to one on Sunday, D-Mac knows about this. Maybe in an Instagram video, I will give y'all a story time, but I'm still feeling some type of way about this.
I'm pretending to be Hermione.
Yeah, but hold on. This is going to be real quick. But if you ever look at their menus, it's explicitly dishes that we were told were ghetto and uncouth, that they just done remove the seasoning from and is selling it to you for $50 a plate. Go ahead, D-Mac.
Okay, so I'm gonna need y'all not to say anything when I say this, because this is gonna blow your minds. It's gonna blow your minds. Y'all ready?
Okay, Gwen Stefani. Gwen Stefani and Eve did have that song.
Yeah.
Monty knew what I was talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I remember the song. I'm old enough to remember. Thank you.
Well, sometimes I'll be forgetting. Sometimes I think,
So-
Look, your cheekbones and your clear skin and shit, I be thinking you fresh out of damn college. So my bad. We had this conversation the other day. I'll be forgetting. No, y'all think I'm playing. There'll be times I'll be talking to D-Mac and then I'll stop myself and he'll look at me and then I have to remind myself he didn't just walk off a college campus. But look at the man. Look at the man. Look at him. If he don't tell you his age, you wouldn't know. Hell, somebody tried to be funny towards him the other day and got his age wrong, but we cool with that because they.
Hey, I love compliments. Compliments make me feel better.
We did talk about your age the other day, didn't we? I forgot all about that.
See?
Yes,
Looking at him, you forget, don't you?
Right.
It's the cheekbones, darling.
Right.
You gotta
But
pay
money,
for
don't
these.
you? He can tell you 25 times a day how old he is.
Right.
You start looking at him
Completely
and talking to him,
forgot.
and you be like,
Honey, if I shave, it's worse.
and you be like, I can't talk to him about that. He ain't old enough for that. That's why he's constantly reminding me, I'm old enough to know. It's no disrespect. You look like a baby.
You
Shit.
do.
Sometimes I feel like I'm supposed
Got
to
that
be a
baby
sugar
face.
mama. Shit.
That's why I gotta keep mine up because I can't be walking around like that.
I mean, seriously, I'm trying to look good into my 80s.
Right.
I mean, come on.
I am
Anyway.
trying to age like Miss Diane Carroll, darling.
I mean, she was still looking good even into her 40s when she was on Dynasty.
Honey,
let's not
she
even
was
pretend.
looking good even when she was casket sharp. That's how I'm trying to age, okay?
All right,
She
y'all
recreated
lost
her
me on
iconic
that one.
Picture where she was like this. And
You don't know who
like,
Diane Carroll is?
in her 70s.
No, I know who she is, but I don't know the shows. Y'all are saying. I heard of Dynasty.
Okay, there's a clip that you got to look up that will literally give you the entire shenanigans. It's literally called where Alexis and Dominique meet. It's literally something like that. And their first interaction, woo, she read her for the filth.
I think I have it.
Oh, I have it too. I have it on repeat.
One of y'all gonna have to send it to me because
yeah, send it to him later. Send it to him
that's what I
later.
was gonna say because I think because I don't know. We send so much Diane Carroll stuff to each other, but go ahead and say what you got to say.
So first they went from actually eating and consuming and having our stuff on furniture, which God, I'm just like, I can't even imagine how your family members manage to consume people. That's just really some crazy shit there. But
white people shit.
There's obviously but they're in effect still consuming us just on a different level. If you look at what's going on today with the music, the literal sports, literal how we talk, literal how we do
Didn't we talk
anything.
about how the drafts are no different than the slave trade? Is no different than the slave market?
I mean, come on, let's go. Literally how we even handle a situation, or how we even look down to, like I said, you see these cheekbones? They pay for these.
Right.
They pay good
Y'all
money.
see these lips? I got teased for so many years for having these lips. Now you got heifers going out having surgery and learning makeup tricks to have these lips.
Y'all remember the cup challenge to get the big lips?
When Kylie Jenner was lying to people.
And I'm just like,
and for those that think that eating black people just stopped during slavery times, no,
It's still going on.
Well, let's not forget Jeffrey Dahmer, who predominantly went after men of color.
It's still going on.
To eat them, but myself and someone else I know were exposed to a conversation where someone didn't realize what they were revealing about their grandparents in a house that they admitted their grandparents had specially made. All the rooms led back to the master bedroom, and the basement was in 2 parts. I have been on farms. I have lived on farms. I have helped on farms. My daddy is very good friends with 2 butchers, and twice a year I go because I can get a discount because I ain't got my daddy's budget. I mean, I got a better budget than my children, but I ain't got daddy's budget. If y'all don't understand the elevation of generations, I don't know what to tell you. So I go and help out because daddy does buy certain amounts of animals and we split it. I can't afford to get everything precisely butcher cut. So I have to go and volunteer. And I understand 2 rooms. And if you've ever dealt with butchers, you understand. And when me and this other person made a comment to this person as they were saying something, and we were joking because we were getting uncomfortable, they broke down, which let us know everything we needed to know. Black people are still being consumed. And there is a white man in California that they still have not brought to justice that keeps picking up and bringing black gay men to his home. Either they die, and if somebody else is there, they call the police and the body is picked up. If nobody else is there, nobody else finds the body. And it has been widely stated, because I'm not going to say speculated, because if I see you butchering somebody and I see you preparing them on the stove, and I tell people that's not speculation. I saw what I saw. I said what I said. You did what you did. And there's still some people white people who still live by the Vladimir days. And if you don't know what I mean by the Vladimir days, where they really thought that drinking in or bathing in blood, and specifically the blood of those kissed by the sun, and when you read the previous text, that is literally how they describe us. So when we have all these children disappearing from northern Ohio, when we have all these children disappearing from near rural areas in the South, when we have children showing up in gyms with their bodies filled with newspaper and no internal organs, especially the heart that contains what? Predominantly what?
Well, blood, duh.
And my thing is, when you're removing organs and you're able to remove basically all the major veins, and there's no droplets of blood, there's no sign of bleach, yeah, we're still the main course. But I thought we were inferior, because the only reason why they eat us is because they think that they're going to embody our mythical powers. But if we're inferior, why do they believe that we have mythical powers?
That brings up like Get Out too. Like people look at Get Out, like that's the same concept. Like they really thought if they get into a black body, or if they get in a black brain or black eyes, they're going to get these superpowers. No,
well, because we don't age like sour cream in the Sahara.
Hold on. There's a caveat to that. There is a caveat. If you don't take care, if you get yourself into a situation that is drug filled and crazy, then you get what you get.
Or if you're Candace Owens, the Hodge twins, Diamond and Silk, the Kunchasta committee does aid you.
I'm just saying, there's a caveat to that.
When you're happy in your own skin, you definitely.
Look at the comment you got.
I can see.
Thank you, Geeky. We're honored. We are honored.
But let's look at it this way. Like I said, if we had the chance to, one, not have to pay taxes, and two, have to pay the United States government anything, and we are all people, and I stress the word, every last person of color under the sound of my voice.
Minus Cubans.
Yeah, Cubans are trying to come over here.
I'm sorry. The vast majority of Cubans that are not Afro-Latina tend to identify as white, and they use their whiteness as power over us. That's statistically and historically correct. Now, Afro-Latinas that happen to be Cuban, they're good people. They will stand with you, everything else. No problem with them. But look at how many Cuban Americans and Cuban immigrants decided to stand with the 55% and not the 45%, even when it came to women. And then when everything was going on in Cuba, these same people that were hurling insults and disrespecting us, spitting on us and everything else out in public, well, not me, because y'all know I don't play that, but you get what I'm saying, then wanted our help. You don't get to disrespect people and then ask for help. And can y'all please stop acting like Black Lives Matter is the fucking Superman of the United States? You can start your own movement for your own people and do the work. Because you don't get to tell us we ain't shit and we're destroying the country and we're causing division. And then when somebody shows you that you ain't really white, that you are not a cisgendered, white, straight Christian, well, pseudo-Christian male, that they don't give a fuck about you, you don't get to run to us. And we're supposed to cradle you on our bosom and rock you to sleep. Fuck you. No. No, ma'am. But Asian Americans,
continue.
Yes.
Can I continue?
They don't need to pay taxes. Black folks definitely don't need to pay taxes. And who decided Indigenous
Before you do,
people need to
D-Mac,
pay
hold on.
taxes?
They absolutely run to Black Lives Matter anytime anything happens. Well, this little white boy was shot. Why is Black Lives Matter not there? 95% of the time they are. If a white kid is shot, if a black kid is shot, if a Mexican kid, Black Lives Matter has been there. But they only see it as, oh, we're only protecting black people.
But see, Black Lives Matter's entire intent is to get justice for those that were wrongfully executed by the police. People forget that there are thousands of grassroots and well-established organizations to handle not just black issues, but all marginalized issues. They seem to forget about the SCLC. They forget about SNCC. They forget about the NAACP. they forget about everything fucking else. They want to all of a sudden go about Black Lives Matter. What about your mama's jacked up vagina? Don't nobody give a shit.
Okay, so as I was saying, every person of color under the sound of my voice, except for the ones we had previously mentioned, if we left, like literally left this country, God only knows what would happen. And I mean that with my whole chest.
I think
God only knows what would happen.
I think Wrong Turn, the movie, would become a reality.
Because if we left, kicked and went back to Africa and kicked out all the shenanigans that are there, oh Lord, people would be upset.
They can't live without our culture. They could not live without our culture.
Well, not only that, white people lie to each other. They lie so much that they forget that they're lying to each other. Because I'm cackling at all the 23andMe results coming up, and folks finding out that they thought, oh, I thought my grandma was Italian, or I thought my grandma was Dominican. Nah, bitch, she came over from Germany. She just knew what to say to put on the application to get certain things. All these Cherokee princesses, it was a lie. These motherfuckers have no idea who's who. Just like
I just don't think we should
Jack
be paying
Nicholson
for anything.
Right, just like Jack Nicholson damn near had a breakdown when his mother passed away and he found out that that was his grandma and his sister was his mama. These are the lies that they tell to skew statistics. And a lot of people, because of this 23andMe trend, they're finding out a whole lot of messed up stuff. A whole lot of messed up stuff where they thought that they've been Polish their whole life. And I'm like, but you're out here in these streets telling people, we live in America, you got to speak English. If you were of Polish descent, how did your grandparents learn how to speak perfect, no accent English in less than a generation? Because contrary to popular belief, a generation is only 7 years. People think that it's far more in between a generation. It's 7 years.
So I did a video on TikTok here to explain to people who needed an explanation, honestly, about how Black Lives Matter works. So here's the analogy. So let's say me and Taz are talking, and I mentioned to Taz, no, put me back on the screen. I want to see both of your expressions, please. Thank you. Stop playing. Downsize me, please.
I was trying to avoid cutting
Downsize me, please.
You know, who is producing this show?
Me.
or you?
Me. So shush.
I guess
Anyway.
I gotta start paying you now. Shit.
Yep. So let's say me and Taz are talking, and I mentioned to Taz, hey, Monty's having a party. And she says to me, oh yeah, I'm going. And then she asked, are you going? Now, if you're in English or any English major in here, y'all should know where I'm already going. Now, for the most part, you can say, are you going to? Right? That's a grammatically correct sentence if you add that to there.
Yep.
But what she says to me is, are you going? The to in the same sentence that I just mentioned is implied there, but it's not mentioned. Right? We all in the same chord here?
Yep.
That to is implied. I'm implying a to. Are you going to? Are you going to? You coming? And that's what people don't understand. They keep thinking that we're saying that only Black Lives Matter. No, honey.
They put that only in there quick.
But Black people are very blunt. If that's what we meant, we would have said it.
We would definitely say it.
They're just afraid that we mean, okay, you know how, if you've ever been cheated on, when your partner is actively cheating on you, I'm
gonna go sit in my corner.
Shut up. No, don't you move. But you know how they look at everything that you do as potentially cheating. You could be like, I'm gonna go to McDonald's and get some French fries. You want some French fries? What, bitch, you meeting up at McDonald's? Like, wait, I'm really just going to... And that's how they are, because they've treated us like shit for so long. They assume that's what we want. Like, I've gone through situations recently where I literally could, let's just use Facebook as an example. I could go on Facebook and just put a heart up as my status. I promise you there are about 5 people to be like, that's something towards me. That heart means this, and this means this, and because they're up to something salacious. And it's like, if Black people wanted revenge,
honey, you be dead.
Baby, we could have had revenge on you when you had us suckling your babies, when you had us cooking your food, when you had us driving around, when you had us balancing the books for your home and your business. Like, you treated us like shit, but taught us how to drive and had us driving you around. You treated us like shit, but had us cooking your food. You treated us like shit, and we couldn't drink from the same water fountain as you, but your kids drank my titty milk.
Can we talk about
your kids? Like if we wanted revenge,
honey, we could have took them out
when
we
were in
slavery.
Every white house. Think about it. When we were in the vast majority of every white house, especially a racist white house, if we wanted revenge, Nate Turner's revenge would have never ended.
Had it not been for a snitch.
Rebellion would have never ended.
Had it not been for a snitch.
Like, let's be real. If that's what we wanted, all of y'all motherfuckers would be ghosts.
Oh, I got one.
Hold on.
So wait. Hold on. So you see how the Nat Turner and the other rebellion that she mentioned all went down because of a snitch in the house saying that, oh, well, we get this, that, and the third while we're here. We get this, that, and the third while we're here. Why you want to give up that? Notice how in the Bible the same thing was said when Moses was trying to free the slaves. Oh, we got the leeks and the onions here. Why we gotta go over this place? Nigga, I didn't ask you what you had. I'm trying to give you something better. What the heck are you talking about?
And when it came
I'm talking about honey and grapes the size of your head. What are you talking about? Onions and leeks
and manna from the sky. But when it came to the Prosser revolution or revolt, depending on what reference you read, it talks about the death of Gabriel Prosser. And because Black women are so often left out of history and they're like, we just assume she died. I never assumed shit. And I will say, Nancy is my badass hero. Because before her death, she got revenge, not only for the people that were killed during, and it was one of the most prolific revolts, because if they wouldn't have got snitched on, slavery would have ended a whole lot sooner in this country. But this woman was able to exact revenge before her death, because the men who killed her husband, we'll just say, there's a lot of scuttlebutt, and there are a lot of diaries and journals from that time that describe a petite, dark-skinned woman who slipped into certain cabins at night, and those men did not wake up in the morning. Y'all put 2 and 2 together. But final thoughts for the evening, gentlemen.
Go ahead, D-Mac.
You first. You're a guest.
My final thoughts is, how y'all steal everything from us but not know how to season your food? Like, how's that the one thing y'all forget to steal from us? Seasoning. Like, and put ground beef or something in your spaghetti. Stop doing noodles and sauce. That's lame. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten.
Stop doing ketchup.
Right.
But hold on. If you want to know about the seasoning, white people used to heavily season their food because it used to be very hard to get, so it was extremely expensive. When you had more expeditions going out and everybody was able to get seasoning, that's when white people decided, well, we have the more expensive cut of meat, so all we need is salt and a little bit of pepper. Why do you think chicken is called poultry? Because they started using French pronunciation, like le boeuf. English translation, beef. Poultry. Like, they wanted to make it sound fancier. Just like, think about it. All of a sudden, kale, which is just a type of greens, gained popularity with the hoity-toities a couple years ago. Kale used to be the cheapest type of green you could get.
Kale's delicious.
Oh, I love
it is nice.
Kale too.
It's not bad.
But my thing is, let's not forget. I'm not. No, when me saying it was the cheapest, I'm not knocking it. But I'm saying, look at how the price changed, and now you know what I'm seeing.
Okay,
Bonnie, you will understand this when I say this restaurant, Drake's by me.
Yeah.
Is literally selling a fried bologna sandwich for $15.
Wait, I'll do you one better. My mother and my father and my father's family, all from the Caribbean. So, well, my mother's not from the Caribbean. My father's family's from the Caribbean. So, as you know, most Caribbean people, they eat goat, they eat oxtail. You know what I'm saying?
That's that
it was
stuff.
Dirt cheap. Now you know what they want for oxtail? Do you want to know? At least up in Connecticut. I don't know what it is down there in Kentucky. I don't know. But you want to know what it is up in Connecticut? Take a guess. Take one guess and I will tell you.
$65.
First of all, out of all the meals that I've made, I can promise you I make a variety of things at my house. I cannot make goat or oxtail for company, and I can promise you, Monty can confirm. He has never had it at my house, and I am the type that if I cook, I will share. But if I cook goat or oxtail that night, I will make you a panini. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you I didn't cook that night, and I'm gonna make you a panini because around these parts, and I actually have to drive to a whole nother state to an international market. I'm looking at $20 a pound.
It was $109 for my mother to get just a box of that.
No.
So it's $21 a pound up here.
Yeah.
$21 compared to the $6 and $8 it was at least about 20 years ago.
And then sometimes you could like if you got
because it's like
with the butcher or whatever, you could get like a little discount.
It's like any time that they quote unquote discover a new taste, the price goes up.
Baby, they done discovered titties, boobs. I mean titties, ass, lips, waist, soap.
We got a couple up here. We got a couple restaurants up here of Caribbean food. And
I'm like, you can't even go to a Caribbean restaurant. You can't even go to a Caribbean restaurant. It's that bad. Like this. There's a place in my city where I get some good, and I stress the word. It's a nice deal of chicken. You get it's just like Popeyes and Kentucky Fried. Only thing, it's a bit cheaper. I'm gonna be honest, it's cheaper, but you get a lot of food. Where you can get like a 5-piece. Now, tell me what a 5-piece would cost at Popeyes or Kentucky Fried. It'd be like a good $10-15. Let's be honest. Let's tell the truth, shame the devil. You know what I pay there? $8, $6 if the owner who likes me is there. Shh, you didn't hear that from me.
Well, it's like what is that? Chester's. That's all through like northern Kentucky, southern Ohio.
Chester's.
Oh, I know what that is. I know what it is. I've seen it.
A bunch of them, but
I've seen it.
I mean, it's not bad chicken. Yeah. It's really good. It's just it's super cheap. Like you'll look at the prices, like, are y'all really frying chicken? But I've been to locations where they fry it in front of you. So it's chicken.
So it's just gotten so bad that, and I mean, I guess with what's going on, the pandemic has driven up prices too. I'm not going to say it's all just white folk discovering food, but it's contributed, and it's just, and it gets to the point. So with the Newsom thing and the beach resort, there's a lovely little story in that Bible there of a king called Ahab who wanted a vineyard that didn't belong to him. And because the said vineyard belonged to someone who he didn't like and would not sell because it had been in his family for years.
Ooh, look at that. My phone telling me I need to go to bed.
His wife, don't do it to
him. Don't do it to him. Actually,
his wife,
do it to him, D-Mac. Do it to him.
His wife, who will stand in for white people, did not like that this person would not sell to her husband, i.e. the state, saying that the state needs to get everything from that resort. So what does she do? She pays 2 people to lie and say that, oh, this person has cheated me and they've been bad and they don't deserve this vineyard. And so what happens? That person loses their vineyard and their life. Interesting how history just loves repeating itself over and over again.
Yeah, because there's one thing that, first of all, y'all know that I'm a weird nerd, so I don't even know. Y'all know that I'm the Sheldon of YouTube, so let's go. Here's the thing. History
Bazinga.
continues to. Of course. If you notice, I'm in the same spot all the time, and Monty, you know this. I don't let nobody sit in my spot. People think that I'm joking about this, but Monty has seen this in real life. Don't nobody sit in my spot. But I digress.
I'm gonna sit there when I get there.
No, you're not. I'm just showing.
She knows if she knows what's good for her, she'll let me sit there.
I'll be like, "You hungry? Here you go. Here you go." And I'm gonna just have my debit card with the PIN number on the post-it note on the back. Here you go. Here you go. You hungry? You hungry? But no, a lot of people don't realize if you're gonna study something, it's always best to study it in the original language and study it for yourself, because translations are like anything else.
They're horrible.
Just like my granny was an ASL interpreter, and for a while I was her backup. I learned from my granny to always be an originalist. Do not paraphrase for the person that you're supposed to be interpreting for. Were there other interpreters that would paraphrase, and would it cause confusion? Yes. Just like in the American Bible,
the Bible,
you hear Lucifer referred to as a devil. Do you realize the person that was translating the Bible for the post-King James translation was in the running for sainthood against someone named Saint Lucifer? So do you understand why he started translating the name Lucifer all throughout the Bible? And we already know the long history of the Catholic Church, which was one of the first ones to start translating the Bible from the Torah, because actually there was no reason to translate the Bible because we should all be under the Torah, but I digress. Because if you're going to say that you believe in Jesus, then you shouldn't be consistently going back to the Old Testament, and you shouldn't even be studying the Old Testament, aka the Torah. You should be studying after the blood of Christ was spilled for your sins, which is the New Testament, which you would no longer be under Mosaic law, which you wouldn't be trying to, hustle people through tithes. But that's a whole nother show. I digress. But when they put the word pedophilia into the Bible, that replaced the word incest, which actually existed at the time that the Bible was written. Pedophilia didn't. And that was during the 1942 German conversion. I'll give you a guess why they said that. But, it's all good. But
hold on, before we go, I don't know if he might see this or not, but a huge shout out to my blood brother. He got engaged on Saturday, and we're getting ready.
Told me I would have put up the picture.
We're getting ready to. Well, he's having the wedding in Barbados, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for my brother to get married, but you want to
go find the bitches in Barbados. I'm gonna
find me a Riri. Big forehead and all.
Congratulations to your brother. If they need any wedding planning things, I'm still a consultant, just to say. But thank you all again for joining me tonight. Tomorrow, it's Get Into It with Taz and Chris. And y'all, Chris has a whole plan for tomorrow. I'm gonna go with the flow. I don't even know what the topic is going to be for tomorrow. So tune in, see what's up, and let's get it. And like I said, do not forget the podcast Tastastic Tuesdays is up. The link is in my bio. Also, there is Halloween merch up on the merch store, breast cancer awareness merch, and domestic violence survivor and awareness merch that's up. And right now we're doing Justice 54 for 15% off. So as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Until next time, love y'all. Bye. Say bye, fellas.